what would be the advice that you would give to women to prepare themselves for marriage?
So first off, I will say this, first be in the mental state. Be like whatever we all have a history, right? We all have a past, right? So counseling, whatever you need to do, get your past history erased. Not erased because you never forget it. What I'm saying is go through therapy, right? Because what you don't want to do is go into a new relationship with somebody that you might want to be with for the rest of your life, and you're bringing up past traumas you had with whoever else into that marriage, right? That marriage should be brand new for both of y'all. Right. Also, make sure your finances together, because once you get together, because that's when sometimes it may be too late. Sometimes you'll get married, everything's looking great. Y'all go to now to go buy a house, and when you go buy a house, your credit scores are 300, his credit score is 8. But meanwhile, y'all invested. Y'all already locked in, and that wasn't a conversation that was had until y'all had to run your credit, and it's like, oh, approved for a loan for 300,000, but your interest rate is 20%. I'm just saying. So, like, you have to get yourself together. You have to make sure that one, your therapy, your credit, your everything, and also be willing to compromise. Inside the household, y'all guys need to have either a weekly or a monthly meeting about how the relationship's going, how can we improve, those things right there. And you have to stick with it. Like, you can't do it for 1 month and then next week you fall off and then don't do it, right? It doesn't work. Just like anything you do in life, you have to put the work in. You got your college degrees, you went through time. Put the same effort in your college degrees, your school, your car, your clothes, whatever it may be, in that relationship. And that's if you want it to work. If you not want the relationship to work, then you should never say, I accept the marriage. You should not accept the ring, right? You shouldn't have conversation about wanting to be married. Like, marriage is not a game. It's a beautiful thing if it works. Trust me, it's a beautiful thing.
My advice to the men, and I'm going to tell you from personal experience, one of the first things I will say for a man to prepare himself for marriage is to tidy up his past. Whatever you've got going on, whether it's issues with your child's mother, your ex-wife, if you've got child support issues, if you've got custody issues, deal with all of those things before saying that you're going to come into a good woman's life. I'm not just talking about any woman, but a woman you see as someone who could be your wife. You do not want to bring what you have over there with someone else into the relationship you have with her. I agree with you. Getting the finances together and or making sure that you are open about what your finances are. I think it is important that when you talk about having those meetings, one of those meetings should be talking about your finances. Here is my credit score. What is your credit score? I'm not saying, I would never recommend just saying, oh, I can't be with somebody because their credit score is low. I think that's crazy. But if you come into the relationship and let's say my credit score is a 572 and his credit score is a 675, it's not awful, but it's not going to get us to where we may want to go, like you said, if we want to buy a home. So let's talk about, what are we going to do to be able to get our credit scores up to the point where we will qualify for the things that we want? How are we willing to live? Are we willing to live on one salary and use the other salary to pay down joint debts? How are we going to do that? Like, these are real conversations to be having, because again, once you get into that marriage, what you bring into that marriage is yours to deal with. So if there's a way for you to deal with all of that stuff before you sign on the dotted line and that becomes a contract, deal with that. Another thing I would say for men to be prepared for marriage is, are you okay with the woman that your potential wife may become? Sometimes we fall in love with the person that is in front of us today. But is this a woman, if things were to change about her, are you still going to love her? And I'm not just talking about physically, right? I'm talking about as she grows, because as we grow, we change. That is an inevitable part of life. Is this a woman that I can love through her growth? Because every time you elevate yourself, you are another person, whether it is that she elevates herself in her job, right? Like, you might meet her at a certain level, but again, in having conversations, she wants to expand, she wants to grow, she wants to get to a certain level. are you able to support her through that and love her when she gets that point? Because inevitably we're going to change.